The Scott-Irish Archers of Mississippi first came to Robertson County in 1837, right after Texas won her independence from Mexico. One of them was the legendary frontiersman, John McQuatty Archer, who joined the Archer clan later. I stopped in Cherokee County until 1854, then went to Robertson County, where I married Miss Mary Mullins. John McQuatty Archer was a popular teamster, hauling lumber, cotton, and hides to Houston and Shreveport, Louisiana. When the Civil War broke out, he joined the Confederacy and drove 6 and 8 yoke wagons loaded with Brazos Valley cotton from Navasota to Mexico, earning desperately needed silver and gold for the struggling Confederacy. A man of impeccable integrity, he never drank alcohol or used tobacco. He was able to read the skies, the buffalo trails, and even people's faces, and built a reputation of the highest order from one end of Texas to the other. John M. Archer's Texas was huge. It was tantalizing, and it was sometimes deadly. Having traveled to every corner of Texas, Archer had a very personal perspective on the Lone Star State. I have seen Texas grow from its infancy to its present magnitude. I was just behind the Indians, but I know what lawlessness means. After the war, Archer moved his family of 7 further west, to Bell County, where he continued his wagon hauling business, and he bought lots of land with the money he made. They settled near Summer's Mill, a beautiful spot which provided ample pastures for his growing horse herd. In 1879, just a couple of weeks before Christmas, Mary suddenly caught pneumonia while helping to butcher hogs, and died, leaving him to raise his children. She was just 43 years old. Mary's lovely niece, Nancy Melissa Mullins, had recently come to Texas, and, within a few months, fortuitously agreed to marry John in May of 1880. Nancy was young and strong and able to go the distance, and she raised Mary's children and gave birth to 10 more of her own. She proved to be the epitome of the courageous and resourceful frontier wife, always willing to feed a stranger. She sometimes served as neighborhood midwife, and later as a bailiff in Judge Archer's court. A veteran trader, John Archer had built up a huge herd of 300 horses. Everyone in Texas talked about cotton, but John Archer talked about horses, cattle, and wide open spaces. His sons were cowboys through and through. He often sent the boys on horse trading expeditions as he hauled goods all over the state of Texas, with few roads then and fewer bridges. Nancy dreaded picking cotton as much as John, so in 1889, when John was 52, the Archers traded for over 3,000 acres, and leaving some of their grown children behind, relocated near Evant in next-door Coryell County. They moved the Archer tribe with several wagons and hundreds of horses in tow. 7 years at Evant saw several more children born, but soon it would be time to move on. There was still an untamed frontier, with plenty of cheap land in the Texas Panhandle. Grassland there only cost 50 cents an acre. So, all the while prospering, the Archers moved on to Jones County in 1899, at the base of the Panhandle. In the spring they pushed on, with 7 wagons crossing the Red River in 1900. The girls drove the wagons, and the boys drove the horses, all 500 of them. Along the way, the girls had adopted a kitten. It would be very useful living out on the wild prairie. This very well might have been the first house cat on the northern plains of Texas. The Archers and the cat's quest finally ended in present-day Hutchinson County. When I arrived here in 1900, I was the first white man on the plains. Up until this time, only buffalo hunters and soldiers chasing Comanches had entered this remote territory, and now they were gone. The Archers were the first white family to cross and settle north of the Canadian River. It was a hard stay, but the merchants of Miami and Channing helped the settlers who came in. Taking all in all, I think this part is better than down in the cotton part. The Archer boys went to work for Billy Dixon, the famous buffalo hunter and Army scout. The families would become almost interdependent. Archer's daughter Fanny taught in the first schoolhouse in Hutchinson County. Other daughters found husbands. John Archer became a high-profile citizen in the sparsely settled Panhandle. At 63, John McQuatty Archer had finally found his home. As the song goes, Archer was the name, and cattle was the game. And it was not a game for sissies. In 1903, there came a historic winter storm, covering the earth with 5 feet of snow. The cattle were wiped out. 90 head at one spot were killed when they blindly walked off of a cliff searching shelter from the blizzard. The Archer boys were hired by various ranches to skin the frozen stock in the field, taking and selling half of the hides as pavement. But the Archers were in their element. There was plenty of beef to eat, and there would be no cotton picking here. But John McQuatty Archer was not against farming. Inspired by new technology in agriculture and the endless fields of grass, he tried to grow wheat instead. You can make as large a farm as you have the money to put in, without a grub, rock, hill, or hollow. Use planters that plant 4 to 6 acres per day. With 6 horses and 1 man, then you drill 10 or 15 acres per day. Key to the whole operation, Archer found an inexhaustible source of water, just 300 feet down in the earth. An ample supply of panhandle wind powered his windmills, which watered his farm and as many as 1,000 head. In 1905, he raised a substantial crop, only to lose it all while crossing the treacherous Canadian River, going to the grinding mill. Still, he kept his sense of humor, and eventually cultivated over 500 acres of good, level, panhandle blackland. John was instrumental in the establishment of Hutchinson County, the founding of the first Church of Christ north of the Canadian River. Like Ezra in the Bible, God expanded his territory. Eventually, his interest spread over 3 counties. At one time or another, he served as notary public, justice of the peace, and postmaster. The Archer boys delivered the mail to the ranches on horseback through rain, sleet, or snow, and dust, high winds, even grass fires. Still just kids, Bob and Roy Archer, perhaps the best 2 cowboys in the family, were hired to push stragglers for the Turkey Track Ranch. They rounded up a sizable herd of difficult cattle and drove them all the way to Albuquerque. When they finished the job, they were paid in gold coins. The 2 trusting youths left Tularosa and foolishly camped at a well-known watering hole east of town. They were tracked down at sundown and robbed by 2 men impersonating U.S. Marshals, who falsely arrested them and accused them of stealing the gold found in their saddlebags from the Tularosa post office. But a real United States postal examiner ran into the party, knew the Archer boys, and suspecting foul play turned the tables, saving the boys and the gold, and put the 2 bandits in jail. The Panhandle of Texas was still a wide open battleground between good and evil. The Archer story of industry, endurance, and faith is a common one on the frontier, but few pioneers enjoyed such success. Remarkably, all 21 of the Archer children grew to maturity. Most of them ended up in the Panhandle. The Archer boys became popular cowboys, wranglers, and bronc busters, often hired to escort large herds of horses across the state. Raised like wolves in the plains, they were master survivors, habitual pranksters, and lucky for us, great storytellers.
Folks said that she was pregnant, just wait and you'll find out. It came about that winter, one gray November morn. The first of many more to come, a baby boy was born, and cattle is their game, and Archer is the name they give to the acre that they own. If the brazos don't run dry and the newborn calves don't die, another year from Mary will have flown. Another year from Mary how Billy, he kept what cattle his daddy could afford. Bouncing across the cactus in a 1950 Ford. But the cows was sick and skinny and the weeds was all that grew. But Billy kept the place alive, the only thing he knew. And Mary cooked the supper, and Mary scrubbed the floor. And Mary busted horses and blew the baby's nose. And Mary in a shotgun kept the rattlesnakes away. But how she kept on smiling, no one could ever say. And cattle is their game, and Archer is the name they give to the acre that they own. If the brazos don't run dry and the newborn calves don't die, another year from Mary will have flown. Another year from Mary will have flown. Now the drought of 57 was a curse upon the land. No one in Bosque County could give Bill a helping hand. The ground was cracked and broken, and the truck was out of gas. And cows can't feed on prickly pear instead of growing grass. Well, the weather got the water, and a snake bite took a child. And a fire in the old barn took the hay that Bill had piled. The mortgage got the money, and the screwworm got the cows. The years have come for Mary, she's a-waiting for 'em now. And cattle is their game, and Archer is the name they give to the acres that they own. If the brazos don't run dry and the newborn calves don't die, another year from Mary will have flown. Another year from Mary will have flown. 6 o'clock silence of a new day beginning is heard in the small Texas town. Like a signal from nowhere, the people who live there are up and moving around. 'Cause there's bacon to fry and there's biscuits to bake on the stove that the Salvation Army won't take. And you open the windows and you turn on the fan, 'cause it's hotter than hell when the sun hits the land.